you're in for a treat today, first and foremost. And this gentleman means a lot to me and everyone on this call because he is always giving us what it takes to get to the next level by proving what? Having a proven system. He has documented that day in, day out, outside of the fantastic mindset that he has. This gentleman, just to give you a quick background, he went from taking over 50 flights a year as a single father, and just understanding that his time was more valuable than the money that he was making. And he knew he had to do something differently. So what I would like to do at this point, because I'm going to get myself out of the way because I'm ready to take some notes. I want to bring up our top producing regional director. But before I get to that, y'all did hear me say top producing, right? Did y'all hear that? Now, in order for us to say top producing, that individual means he must be on a chart somewhere, right? Now, our company is in several countries, but let me share something with you. Typically, we don't do this, but I just want you to understand what it means to be top producing. So if you can go on our compass and go to recognition, and you can click on this tab where he's a regional director on his way to regional vice president. And I'm going to scroll real slow just so you can see it, because I believe you're going to see a couple of names on there. Look at there. You see our regional vice president, Miss Jocelyn Driscoll, on there on the RD charts. But you also see who? Mr. Julian Lewis. So I believe he's earned the right to be on this call today to let us know what it takes to get to the next level. So Mr. Julian Lewis, if you're there, sir, without further ado, we welcome you all to the call, Mr. Julian Lewis. Sir, I turn it over to you.
Mr. Clemens, it's good to see your face, brother. I usually know you're on here. We talk on the text message, usually before the call, but it's a pleasure to see your face and to be able to come after you. And the reason why I say that is because you guys got to understand something. Mr. Clemens is on here every single day on the back end, making sure everything runs smoothly. And you may not understand what that deals with, but I've had to jump in and cover every once in a blue moon. And I'm telling you, there's a lot that goes in it. And he does it with class. He does it with ease. But it takes a lot of time. On top of that, he has in his organization and personally, he has one of the highest amounts of personal customers in the team. And it's because he leads by example. He's constantly enrolling business partners. He's helping them to succeed, and he's here to help us as well. And as a servant leader, I couldn't think of anybody better to be on the call with me today than Mr. Jabri Clemens. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Absolutely. And I'm getting used to this quiet clap because of Zoom. So if you noticed, but I wanna first of all, the top production guys, that's the team. I'm gonna tell you right now, the team is coachable. The team is following the system, and they added something special that I'm going to talk about when we're done with this call. And probably next week you'll be able to hear from a few of them, because there are about 4 or 5 of them that got promoted to ETL within a week or two. So that's been pretty awesome. And you'll be able to hear what they're doing, because all of these, here's the crazy thing. Besides 2 of them, 2 of the people in the team, they're all women. They're all busy. They're all dominating. They have families. They're professional, and they live all around the world. So it's great. You guys, hopefully I can get them here because they're very busy, but maybe on Tuesday we'll be able to have that for you. So keep that in your calendar. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you a quick video. All right. Because this video, well, it's not, listen, it's not quick. Usually it's quick, but this video is a little longer than normal. For me, a quick video is usually 2-3 minutes. I think this is like 7. So I want you guys to pay attention, because I sit back and I think, well, what is it? What is it that makes this person win and this person doesn't? What is it that makes it? We talked about this last week, where everyone knows, and everyone knows it's simple. I think 2 weeks ago we talked about it. It's simple to do these things. It's simple to make calls. It's simple to write down people on a list. It's easy to do. Then why is it that when it comes down to actually doing it, people freeze up? What is it about what's going on internally that make people freeze up? You know, I had this conversation with Marie. We're talking about things from before and the transition she made and why she's getting results. And here's what's so crazy. You talk to Marie, every time her team talks to her, she's smiling. She's laughing, she's having fun, and it's not work. So what happened? What is the change? And so I'm gonna play this quick, not quick, but quick video with Mel Robbins. It's an excerpt from a Tom Bilyeu interview. So if you want the whole interview, you don't have to search for it. You go to Tom Bilyeu Impact Theory. Just put in Impact Theory and Mel Robbins, and the whole, I think it's like 45, 50 minutes will come up. But this is an excerpt from that, and you're gonna understand something that I learned a long time ago. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a skill. And once you understand that, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a light bulb moment for a lot of you. You're going to be blown away. Confidence isn't a personality trait, it's a skill. And once you understand that skill and how to develop it, you can be successful in ACN. So let me go ahead and get to this video.
What's incredible is in 5 seconds flat, self-doubt can take over and rob you of your power and rob you of joy and rob you of your potential. Or in 5 seconds flat, you can actually use one stupid little trick to push yourself to grab it. When you talk about personality, so extroverts, introverts, a lot of us really, I know I did this, I was all wrong about what confidence meant. I thought confidence was a personality trait.
I love this. Tell me more.
I thought that people that are outgoing are the confident ones, right? And the truth is, confidence is not a personality trait at all. It's a skill. And a lot of the extroverted people that you know are actually very insecure. I used to be one of them. I used to be the kind of bossy, crass loudmouth that didn't believe in myself, that didn't believe in my ideas, that didn't have the confidence and the courage to really be the real me, who I am, who I'm not, flaws and all. There are a tremendous number of introverted people that feel uncomfortable putting the attention on themselves, but they're very, very confident in their ideas. They definitely believe in themselves. And so when you start to separate confidence not as a matter of personality, but as a skill that you can acquire, because confidence is the ability to move, in my opinion, from thought to action. Because when you're a confident person, you believe enough in yourself and your capabilities that you're willing to try, that you're willing to share. To me, confidence isn't the assuredness that it turns out, it's the willingness to try. And that was a huge insight for me. And what a lot of people don't know about me, although I share this on stage and I'm extremely open about this because this is a topic that's really important to me, is that the single most profound use of the 5-second rule is mind control. And I say that as a lawyer. I will tell you, you can use this stupid trick to cure yourself of anxiety.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. So you struggled very profoundly with anxiety. So walk us through like some nuts and bolts of how you use the 5-second rule, because I think so my hypothesis and the reason we founded Impact Theory is that the world is living through 2 pandemics. The pandemic of the body, which everybody understands because it's so visual.
Yep.
Being overweight, dying of diet-related diseases such as diabetes and things like that. But because the second pandemic, the pandemic of the mind, is invisible, people don't realize how pervasive a suicide is, and I think it's a leading cause of death among young men. I mean, it's crazy. And then that there are ways that they can go about attacking that and fixing the problem. So walk us through that.
Sure, I would love to. So first of all, I literally have struggled with anxiety my entire life. And anxiety, for this conversation, the way I define it is the habit of worrying spiraled out of control. You know, you may say that you are a worrier. That's not true. You have a habit of worrying. A habit is a pattern of behavior or thinking that you repeat without realizing it. So Anxiety happens when that pattern of worrying about things spirals out of control, and now it starts to marry and manifest itself with physical sensations too. That's all that it is. I know that I say that's all that it is. Me personally, I struggled with anxiety, I think my entire life. It became quite acute when I was in my late teens and early 20s. I became medicated in the middle of law school. I took Zoloft for 2 decades. When our first daughter was born, who is now 17, the postpartum depression and the cascading panic was so terrible that not only was I medicated and couldn't breastfeed, but I couldn't be left alone with her.
Wow.
So when I say you can cure yourself of anxiety, I don't say that lightly. 4 years ago, after I had been using the 5-second rule to change my behavior, how I spoke to my husband, how I negotiate in business meetings, how I conduct sales, the kind of parent that I am, my health habits, my eating habits, curbing the drinking, I thought, I wonder if I can use this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing to get control of my thought patterns. Not my behavior patterns, my thought patterns. Yes, you can. Wow. So we're gonna build this conversation, because I want to start with something we can all relate to, and that is, how do you stop worrying, and how do you stop listening to self-doubt? This is how you're going to do it. So all day long, you're going to have moments where your thoughts drift, and I use that word on purpose, because for me, there is a physical sensation when you start to use the 5-second rule and you start to wake up, not only on time in the morning, but you wake up to your life and the opportunities in your life. Your thoughts drift. Like, you'll just be hanging out with your friends, and then suddenly you're like, I'm not sure that person likes me anymore. I haven't heard from my kids lately. I wonder if they're dead, or, as a check, like, you just start worrying about stuff. Why? Because it's a habit. Because when you're not paying attention, your brain shifts from you being a decision maker and paying attention to you just kind of spinning things on autopilot, and one of your habits is worrying. The second you wake up and you notice, holy cow, I'm talking some negative garbage to myself right now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've just shifted the part of the brain that you're using. You've shifted from the basal ganglia, which is where your habit loops are spinning, and you've awakened your prefrontal cortex. You've also interrupted that pattern. Now what you're going to do, because your mind is actually ready to receive a different thought because of the counting, now you can put in an anchor thought. Like, if you have a mantra, if you've got a vision about the way that your business is going to turn out in 5 years, if you just have a thought that makes you really happy and proud, insert that. Now, why does this work? It works because of the counting. And I'm not kidding. We know, based on research, that positive thinking alone, not effective. In some instances, trying to force yourself to think positive can actually make the worries worse. Why? Well, the reason why is because it's really hard to just change the channel. What we have to do first is basically interrupt it and turn off the TV, and then turn it back on with the prefrontal cortex awakened. So the counting is essential. And so you can start using this today. You catch yourself talking garbage to yourself, because we all know if I were to put a speaker on your head and broadcast, you would be sitting here in the audience, you'd be in an insane asylum, because the crap that you say to yourself is insane. And the problem is we listen to it. You'll be in a sales meeting and you'll be undermining yourself. They're not going to buy. Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. You're not even present. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch it back. Get back to that vision that you have about toasting your success, or this customer being really happy, or you being proud of yourself. Whatever that vision may be, you can control your thoughts. And this is not just us talking about it. This is a tool that you can use. So let's take it a step further. So worrying, if you let it go unchecked, what will happen is you will get used to worrying. You will get used to living in a state where you're slightly agitated all the time. Let me talk a little bit about agitation. So what we know based on research is that physically, in your body, so physiologically, being excited is the exact same thing as being afraid. Let me say that again, because it is so important. In your body, being excited is the exact same thing as being afraid. Your body doesn't know the damn difference. Your heart races, your armpits sweat, you're like, you may get tight in your throat. Your cheeks may get pink like mine do when I get excited. The only difference between excitement and fear is what your brain says. And
like I said earlier, you guys can get the link, go to Tom Bellew's Impact Theory, or type in the search bar on YouTube, Mel Robbins, Tom Bellew, and you'll get the entire interview. But the reason why I wanted you guys to see this is because I'm not going to say any names. I've talked to a lot of people on this call. I've talked to a lot of people in life, people that I've coached. And what I've noticed is this. Most people do this. Most people, they speak negativity into existence. Most people, and here's what's so crazy about it. Most people don't realize that you're a creator. See, I was an engineer. I believe in God. I was an engineer though. So what I love is to show what happens when you do the things that you do based on how you were created. If God was a creator and you were created in his image, then you create your reality every single day by putting a thought out into the world and manifesting it into this physical realm that we call real life. And that's what's happening with most people. They're manifesting the world that they determine based on their thoughts, but they think that it's things that they don't want, but they think about them all the time. I'm not good enough. It won't happen. It won't happen for me. It happens for other people. They're special. I'm not. That's why things are the way they are. Oh, I'll never lose weight because this is how it is in my family. Oh, I'll never be successful because no one in my family was. Oh, I'll never have a great life because that stuff just doesn't happen to people like me. It happens to people like them. It happens to people that look like this. It happens to people that grew up here. See, I grew up here. And those are the things that you're constantly saying. You heard Mel Robbins say, if we could put a megaphone on your thoughts, you would have to be in an insane asylum. Most of the things that we talk about, I've said this before, we're driving in the car and we wind up being late. And what do? We say, you're so stupid. You should have left early. Oh, you're an idiot. You should have turned left there. Oh, you're not paying attention. What's wrong with you? We have these conversations, but you would never speak in that way to your child. And you forget that there's a child inside. The only thing that is older is the body. The spirit doesn't age. So you're speaking to the child and you're speaking against yourself every single day. And that is the resistance that's keeping you from being great. And even though Mel Robbins said that confidence is a skill, ironically, it's a skill that every single one of us already had the moment we were born and we started moving around. No one gave you permission to start moving your arms and legs. You saw that you had the confidence. What is the confidence? The what? The willingness to try. You saw that other people were moving their arms, so you said, well, if they're moving their arms, I can move my arms. You saw that other people were walking around, they figured it out, I could do it. Somewhere along the lines, somewhere along the way, you got hurt one or two times, and then you started to believe that every single time you would get that same pain, even though that hurt was temporary. You stretched it out across your life because you kept repeating the same cycle. It had nothing to do with the permanence of pain. It had everything to do with the fact that you kept reliving the temporary pain. So your mind made it permanent by creating a situation every single day that was negative. That became what you were familiar with. And here's what's scary. When you become familiar with the negative, when you get the positive, then you feel uncomfortable about it because the positive just means that soon negative will happen. And when you have that idea in your mind, you will create a negative to self-sabotage your positive moment so that you can validate you being negative and saying, see, I knew this wasn't going to last. But the truth is, you made the negativity last because of how powerful you really are. You can decide. You can decide that confidence is a personality trait, and that it's not given to everyone, and you can stay in your negativity. Or you can decide that it's a skill and relearn what you knew as a child and go out there and have the willingness to try and start smiling again and be happy and be confident, and people will be attracted to you. I've never met someone that said, I love that dude. Well, what do you love about him? Man, he's just so negative. So why not try the other thing? See, because the truth is that in your body doesn't know the reactions your body makes. Your body doesn't know the difference between excitement and agitation. The difference is the way you perceive it. In other words, it's the way the narrative that you give it in your mind. Think about little kids. Little kids love to be scared. I remember my daughter, she'd get all excited. And she'd come back and want me to scare her again. And I'm thinking, why do you want me to scare you? Because she doesn't know the difference. It's exciting. She jumps and then started laughing. Somewhere along the way, we changed the narrative and we started to believe that that was something to be afraid of. So how do you change it? When you're about to do something that you used to give the narrative of being afraid of, you have to count down. Some of you that did the cold showers with me back in the summer did this with me. You have to do the 5-second rule. You have to count down. That disrupts your habitual thinking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have to tell yourself, I'm excited to do this presentation. I'm excited to do this launch. I'm excited to do this speaking. I can't wait to identify someone who is ready to run with me. You have to disrupt it. And it's a pattern. So it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to start if you decide to start right now. And while you're thinking about all the reasons why you can't start right now, you have to, in your mind, do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to disrupt the normal pattern of negative thinking. I hope you guys are getting this. And so it really is that simple. And I had to break it down because I dealt with it. Jamar, you remember that? Man, to this day, myself and a lot of the people around me that I love still do cold showers. To this day, because it's not about the temperature. It's not about the second of pain. It's about gaining control over your mind. You know, as I talk about it, people come up to me. I know my mother, we celebrated her 70th birthday on Saturday. It was amazing. All of her friends, she has some, any of you that understand, this is the first time Eileen saw my mom's, like, her energy, right? And because I've told her stories about when Brian and I were kids, and she got to see it. And she's like, wow. And I said, you have no idea. You think that was it. When I was younger, her and the 6 other women, or those 5 other women, they had insane amounts of energy. And it was crazy getting them together. But as we were together with them, one thing that happened, my best friend growing up, his mom was there. And she pulled me aside and she said, you turn back the hands of time. I'm so proud of what you've done physically to yourself, right? And she's talking about transformation. And you know what people think? People think it has to do with just physical. It's all up here. Ironically, it started with deciding to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and get out of bed. It started with disrupting. It started with disrupting my own negative mindset. I remember the first time I decided to work out again, and I was over 200 pounds. It was like 235 pounds, guys. And I started doing particular workouts, and it hurt my knee. And because, you know what I started to tell myself? I started to tell myself a story of my knee must hurt because of the age I was. I'm getting older. That's why my knee hurts, because that's 155 pound person supposed to be carrying 235 pounds. That's why my knee hurt, but I created a narrative to justify and validate instead of realizing that was all BS. It was a lie. I'm telling you this, it's because it's always a mind game. Everything that's going on has to do with how you think about it. It's not your circumstance. See, here's I want to ask you guys a question, and this is going to prove it to you. If let's say we have an older man, and I want you to think about this. An older man, he's a great father, great family man, grandfather, everything. And the older man, he goes into the gas station, and every time he pumps his gas, he gets a lottery ticket, right? And this next time he got the lottery ticket, he actually won the lottery, and he won $30 million. By a show of hands, and I'm looking at all of you right now. Let me make sure I can see all of you. Let's say, by a show of hands, how many of you would consider him lucky? Be honest. And this is not a trick question, so you don't have to look good by saying, well, I don't think, because be honest. All right, so you think he's lucky. Perfect. All right, great. He's lucky. When he wins the 30 million, he finally gets some of that, and he buys his dream car, a Ferrari, a red, brand new Ferrari. How many of us consider him lucky still, right? Oh, you're so lucky. You got a Ferrari, right? He's out driving his Ferrari, enjoying life. He feels like he's in his 20s. Remember, he's a grandfather. He feels like he's in his 20s. He gets in a terrible car accident. It's not his fault. Gets in a terrible car accident, and he has to be life-flighted to the hospital. How many of us can agree, well, would you consider that lucky or kind of unlucky? It's unlucky, right? All right, well, let's say he's unlucky. So it kind of messed up. So because he won the lottery and bought the Ferrari, now he's in the hospital. So was the lottery good or bad? Well, let's keep going. While he's in the hospital, the home that he bought with his lottery money over in La Jolla on the cliffs, he finds out that the home falls into the water. He's not in the home, he's in the hospital. So if he's in the hospital, if he would have been in the home, he would have died. So now in the hospital, is he lucky or is he unlucky? See, the reason why I'm saying this is because we place labels of lucky, unlucky, good, and bad on things that are not good, bad, lucky, or unlucky. 100% of the things that happen in our life, we determine the value of luck, unluck, good, or bad based on the way we perceive and think about them. See, I just confused you. You knew for sure he was lucky. Then you're like, well, I don't know. Then you're like, yeah, he was lucky. Then you're like, well, wait, I don't know. Because they're temporary situations. This is what I'm trying to say. It's all based on exactly what T said, perspective. And what does perspective have to do with? Your mind. It has to do with the way you think. Anyone that drives with me, we're going downtown, we're going anywhere. I know I'm going to find good parking. And guess what? I always do. And there are other people that always know that it's busy downtown and they're not going to get a good parking spot. And guess what? They never do. We create it. So confidence is a skill that you already learned when you were a child. And you just have to remember. And the way you disrupt your negative thinking is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Remember, you're not a worrier. If someone gave you the title, you worry, or you gave it to yourself, oh, I'm a worrier, or I have anxiety. No, worrying is a habit. Worrying is a habit. It's not a personality trait. Confidence is a skill. It's not a personality trait. So if you have the habit of worrying, you need to disrupt that habit and anchor it with a mantra. Whatever that is, for me is, my mantra is to become the best, a better version of myself every day while being grateful for the man that I am today. That's it, every day. So whatever it is for you, you have to do it from that perspective. And so that leads me to the last point. What I saw with Marie and her group, it's the same woman, it's the same human being. The only thing that changed is her perspective. And once that changed, everything changed. And so you're a perspective or a thought away from winning. And when you realize that it is that simple, and you can let go of terrorizing yourself, you're going to be great. Remember this. Ask yourself this question when you're thinking, are these thoughts serving me right now? And if the answer is no, ask yourself, then why am I thinking them? Guys, I hope that helps. Hope you get some value. Again, you can go to Tom Bellew and Mel Robbins' Impact Theory and get that entire interview, and you can start today. And I'm so excited for those of you that will actually do it, because confidence is having the willingness to take action and try. So with that, Mr. Jabri Clemens, I don't know if you want to say anything to close it out. I'm going to pass it on to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
There he
really,
is.
at this point, there's nothing more that I should say, because I don't want to take away from anything you've already shared with us. Just like you said, man, there's power in the thought, power in the tongue. If you take anything out of what you said today, I hope everyone really understands that and truly believes it, because it is fact and it is proven.